Hey everyone, this is Hemachandra from Tech Mantis. We are unboxing the Samsung Galaxy M51 mobile. In other words, we are unleashing a monster. Yes, Samsung claims it as the meanest monstrous millennial smartphone. So, let's see if it is really a meanest monstrous or not. Before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon and enable the notification to get notified on more videos. Let's unbox the Samsung Galaxy M51. I have the Celestial Black 8GB variant and this is coming in one more color which is electric blue. I personally prefer the black one as anyways I am going to cover it with a back case or some protective case which would be in the same black color mostly. There is one more variant that comes in 6GB RAM, but the price difference is not a big deal here as both the variants have 128GB of internal storage. Samsung included a memory card slot so you can expand the memory with external card up to 512GB. Let's deep dive into the box to see what else we have. The first thing we see is the M51, the product itself. And there is a 25W USB Type-C fast charger in box that almost take 2 hours to charge the device completely. Next we have the Type-C to Type-C power cable. M51 has reverse charging support, which means you can charge other devices like earphones, smartwatches or even any other smartphones too. Also, we have the user manuals, instruction guide and a SIM ejector pin. That's all we have in the box. Let's keep it aside and move forward. This device has 7000 mAh massive battery. Samsung advertises it as India's first 7000 mAh battery phone. Despite having such huge battery inside, the device does not feel much heavy and moreover they made it with 9.5 mm thickness. The weight balance is done well and you barely notice that this device weighs 213 grams. It almost feels like holding the recent smartphones in the market that weighs around 180 to 200 grams. Samsung always does this weight balancing job well with their phones, especially with the millennial series. Speaking of build quality, here Samsung has not given glass body whereas we see the typical plastic look-alike body. Samsung claims it as glass-stick, but I would say it gives plasticky look and feel only. Well, Samsung has compromised on the design to achieve good balance in weight and to provide a better hand feel. So, it doesn't feel slippery and you can handle this device with full confidence. Talking about the glass-stick body, it observes fingerprints like anything. I will not consider this as a major negative as anyways I am going to use a protective back case. However, the point is, it attracts fingerprints easily. If you take a look at Samsung S20 FE for instance, they used same plastic material for the back but the S20 FE doesn't attract fingerprints. Also, the plastic material used on S20 FE is more premium. It had more grip, textures and also the body is resistant to scratches. So, something like that is missing here in M51 from my point of view on the build side. If Samsung would have given similar build on the back, the build quality of M51 would have exceeded the expectations of this mid-range M series model. Speaking of drop protection, Samsung has used Gorilla Glass 3 Plus, which is one more compromise on the build side. When you check at any price point except the flagships, smartphone manufacturers would give up or compromise some important features to justify their market price. Here in M51, it is the build quality. Even they used the same Gorilla Glass 3 Plus protection on their A71 and A51 models. In case if you use a good screen protector and a back case, this wouldn't be a major concern for you. Let's move on to the design and physical overview. M51 has a very good form factor. It looks familiar and same boring design as we see in the other M series smartphones. Moreover, the looks are very similar to its predecessor, the M31s. It's built in 20:9 aspect ratio, so the device is not wider and can easily fit into a palm. If you have a big hand like me, this would not feel like holding a 6.7-inch display phone. The M51 is 6.45 inches in height, 3 inches in width, and though it has 7000 mAh battery, it is only 9.5 mm in thickness. If you take the Poco X3 for instance, it has only 6000 mAh battery but 10.1 mm in thickness. Also, the Poco X3 weighs close to 230 grams. But keeping 7000 mAh battery inside, here I like how Samsung has managed to deliver a good weight balance as it weighs only 213 grams. At the top, we have a secondary microphones for noise cancellation. On the right side, we have the volume rockers, a power button cum fingerprint scanner. On the left side, we have the SIM card port and the tray has triple slots. It is cool that Samsung does not take away the SD card slot in the mid-range smartphones. At the bottom, we have the speakers, Type-C charging port and a 3.5 mm headphone jack. At the rear, it has a rectangular quad camera module, and in the front, we have a centrally aligned selfie camera. Speaking of the side mounted fingerprint sensor, it is accurate and unlocks very fast. I hope Samsung has embedded this sensor over the power button for the cost cutting. If it is so, that is a cool decision. The in-display fingerprint sensors have never been this faster in Samsung mid-range phones comparatively. Speaking of the display, with this form factor, it has 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Plus Infinity OLED display. When compared to the normal AMOLED displays from the other millennial smartphones, this one adds 20% extra brightness that also consumes less battery power. As per Samsung, the S AMOLED display reflects almost 80% of the sunlight when using at the outdoor daylight conditions or while exposing to the sunlight directly. This display has resolution of 1080 x 2340 and the pixel density of 393 pixels per inch. With this 91% screen to body ratio, this display looks stunning and the viewing angles are so good. This is a full HD plus display and it has always on display feature too. Samsung claims that this S AMOLED Plus display is up to 43% slimmer and 28% lighter than the normal IPS LCD screens. This display looks fantastic for consuming multimedia experience and one of the best displays in this budget segment. It has vivid color mode, thus the colors are very accurate and looks sharp to our eyes. Having said that, here we have a good contrast ratio which results in very deep black. The images and videos are very colorful. Also the textures of subjects have very good details. The colors are not oversaturated here and looks more vibrant. So it gives an intense feeling and gives immense pleasure during the multimedia consumption. The peak brightness of this display is about 420 nits. It is not the brightest I would say, but bright enough to handle in outdoor conditions or in direct sunlights. Plus, there is a Widevine L1 certification for HD streaming from Amazon Prime and Netflix videos. This display has a small, decent punch hole for a front-facing selfie camera. However, we can see a dark display area surrounded by the lens that makes it little bigger. Anyways, it is not the case during the multimedia consumption. The only downside of this display is it is missing the high refresh rate and the fluidity. The Poco X3 and OnePlus Nord takes lead here by offering 90Hz to 120Hz refresh rate in the same budget segment. With all the new One UI 3.0 update, the experience is smooth. And also for the price, it is not a major con unless you buy this for a better gaming experience. Speaking of the hardware and platform, Samsung M51 is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G chipset. This is the 8nm power efficient architecture. Unlike the other phones, Samsung has powered this device with a Qualcomm processor than their own usual Exynos series. Well, this is one of the reasons how this device has turned into a meanest monster. 730G is one of the best processor being used in the mid-range smartphones. It is a quad-core processor where its 8 cores are divided into 2 clusters. Compared to Snapdragon 730, the 730G is optimized for gaming performance. Here, the Adreno 618 GPU overclocked for better graphics and it provides overall performance while gaming. When comparing, the Snapdragon 730G could increase in performance by 15% than the 730. Also, with this 730G, the internet speed should comparatively be better during gameplay connected through Wi-Fi. Another advantage of this 730G is you can record the 720p videos in 960 frames per second. So, the output of super slow-mo video will be very good. It supports Quad HD display, HDR gaming, and it can handle the cameras that supports more megapixels. Moreover, it is expected that the image processing results using this processor would have good difference. The RAM is of LPDDR4 type and the RAM management here results in smooth and fast operations. Speaking of software experience, it ships with Samsung One UI version 2.1 that runs on top of Android 10. One UI is heavily skinned but packs with lot of features. Initially, when Samsung launched this M51 with 2.1 version, it was missing haptic feedback on this device. So far, no lags observed. The software experience with Snapdragon processor is very smooth. One UI packs features like screen recorder, themes, dual messenger, one hand mode, always on display, lift to wake, double tap to wake, gestures, quick sharing, game booster, dark mode, and a lot more customization options. On top of that, we get Knox security assurance. Not only dock mode, the One UI OS has dock site too. Yes, it is the bloatware. There are several bloatware apps pre-installed in this device, usually in all the Samsung devices. Also, the lock screen stories and promotional ads are more specific to mention. Good thing is, we can disable all these from settings. Additionally, there is a usual gesture to highlight that enables draw notification by swiping up and down using the fingerprint sensor. We can enable this option under advanced feature, further navigating into motion and gestures settings. Having larger display, I found this useful as one cannot reach the top of the display using one hand. Let's move on to the cameras. Samsung M51 packs a quad camera setup similar to what we have seen in M31s. The rear camera module consists of one 64MP camera with f1.8 aperture, one 12MP ultra-wide camera with f2.2 aperture, one 5MP macro camera with f2.4 aperture for extreme close-up shots, and finally one 5MP camera with f2.4 aperture for depth sensing. Samsung uses Sony IMX682 image sensor and it delivers crisp images, also manages to take very good pictures. The output here is very colorful and the dynamic range is also good in daylight conditions. Samsung has used the same sensor on M31s but with all the new improvements along with post-processing, M51 delivers best outputs. We have also seen this sensor on Xiaomi Mi 10T, Poco X3 and Realme 7 Pro phones. The ultra-wide 12MP camera is the best out of this camera module. It has great details and dynamic range. The color reproduction is good that results in better color tone with vibrant pictures. This ultra-wide lens has 123-degree field of view, however, sometimes the edges becomes blurry in outputs. The primary 64MP sensor produces sharp images and the Samsung image processing results in improved color accuracy with vibrant colors. Auto HDR is enabled with primary sensor. The dynamic range is very good from the 64MP camera output. 5MP camera produces amazing outputs and I have attached the samples here for your reference. For selfies, there is a 32MP camera that does a good job and it uses Sony IMX616 sensor. The details are very good from the images taken on the selfie camera. Also, the skin tone remains accurate in nature. There is a single take feature in M51 that captures and results in multiple outputs. There are 4K recording and 180p video recording option available at 30 frames per second from the front camera. The super steady recording mode is also present for the rear camera, but you can use this option to record only full HD videos. Finally, let's talk about the pros and cons of M51. Speaking of pros, one of the major points would be the 7000 mAh battery. Of course, the battery backup with minimal usage would last for 2 complete days without any doubts. Even it can push to the third day when the multimedia consumption is less or if you aren't playing heavy games. Another major pro would be the display. Of course, with all this Super AMOLED display, experience of multimedia consumption along with Widevine L1 certificate is a major advantage for enjoying your videos. Next would be the reverse charging support. Having this reverse charging feature, it lets you to charge other smartphones or devices like wireless earphones or smartwatches. Also, the sound output from the single bottom facing speaker is very loud and it has the Dolby Atmos feature for better sound experience using headphones. Let's move on to the cons. First, the SAR value. Among all other M series smartphones, the M51 has the highest SAR value and it is surprisingly disappointing. Next, it is missing the high refresh rates for such great display. Hope Samsung bundles this display feature in their next M series release. Another con would be the lack of Gorilla Glass latest protection. And finally, it is the bloatware and promotional ads. And that's all about M51. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please let me know your feedback in the comment section. Before leaving, please ensure to subscribe, hit like and enable the notification to get more videos. Meet you guys in another video. Peace out.